Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Player's Take, episode 141. I'm your host, Justin D. Sony, joined by my co-host, the biggest investor in Shiba Coin, Montrell Rice.
Hey, what's up? I wish I was the biggest investor in that coin.
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't be on this podcast if you were the biggest investor in Shiba Coin.
No, I will still be on the podcast.
You think so? Okay,
Yeah.
Montrell, let's play this hypothetical. Okay, let's just say you got hyper rich, $100 million on off Shiba. Would you would legitimately still do the show?
Yes.
You wouldn't just disappear off the face of the planet, never interact with me or any of our friends again, and like just go do your own thing somewhere. You would actually still do this podcast.
Yes.
Man, that's nice. That's nice. That makes me feel good. I feel the same way. I
Money
think if
is just for like the comfortability. Like all I want money for is so I don't have to work anymore. Nothing else would change with me.
I 100% agree with you. That's what I'm trying to achieve with my life. Like that is like my life goal is to just get enough money where I don't have to work anymore, before I hit 60, 68.
I never really been a materialistic person. Like, I like to collect shoes and stuff like that, but that's only because I don't buy every shoe that comes out. I buy the shoes that I like. If I really like it, I will stand outside for a pair of shoes if I really want those shoes. But I don't do that all the time. And I didn't that, and then obviously you can't do it now anyway. But even back in the day, I really didn't do it that much.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I've never really been a huge materialistic person. Like I don't need the latest car. Like I have the car that I wanted for a while. For years, I wanted this car, and I have it now. So it's like, which is like a Mustang. So I mean, I always wanted a Mustang since I was younger. So I got one now, and I'm like content with that. Like it's not the best car in the world, but it's my fucking car, and I work hard to get it. So
I'm with you. I value my time more than anything.
Yeah.
Right. It's almost priceless. So I'm with you. If I got super rich to the point where I didn't have to work anymore, I'd still just do this podcast too. I'd probably would full commit on this shit. Like I'd be doing crazy shit. I'd start streaming like fucking whatever the fuck.
No, for real. That's what I would do. Like I'll have a lot more time to do other stuff. And I mean, the only thing you probably won't see me as much is I'll probably travel. That's like the number one thing I would do is travel.
You'd be in like fucking India one week doing the show with me.
You know what I'm saying? Then I'll be in like fucking Russia somewhere, and then I'll be in fucking Japan or something.
Is the KGB gonna be after you?
I hope not. Shit. I'm one of you, comrades.
Hello, comrade. I believe in the motherland. I don't know why. What's that voice? What just came out? That was in Russian.
They're gonna tell me that's the wrong motherland, sir.
Oh God, man! No, I have to prime myself for impressions. I can't just do it out of the blue. I gotta start saying words and psyching myself up. So doing it on a recording like this is hard for me. So it's it came out I don't even know, that was almost like Haitian or something that I was doing. So this has been a weird week. There's a lot going on, but have you seen the stuff going around about Ubisoft emailing people who stopped playing Far Cry 6?
Yeah, what's up with that? That's crazy to me.
What are they doing, bro? They're harassing people. They literally are sending threatening emails where the villain from the game is I expected more from you. Only 3 hours? Well, thank you for giving me free reign over fake Cuba or whatever the fuck, the place in Far Cry 6 is. Because it's a little weird. MMOs and live service games will send emails saying we'll do this, where they'll send hey, we haven't seen you in a while, but they'll do it in a really innocent way where they're hey, can you give us some feedback on why you're not playing anymore or why you left the game, so we can improve the experience for other people and whatever. It's it's a lot more innocent, whereas this is antagonistic and weird.
I get the intent. I'm not going to sit there and say I don't get the intent. I do get the intent. It's just a really bad execution. Mm-hmm. Really bad. Yeah. A lot of people stopped playing Far Cry 6 because I heard it fucking sucks. So I mean,
yeah. Well, I've heard it's more of the same. Ubisoft feels like a company that's kind of a fucking mess right now. So I don't know, like, because yeah, they had that what was it, Splinter Cell Frontier or what, Frontline or whatever the fuck it's called trailer like a couple weeks ago, and it's like a battle royale, Splinter Cell battle royale. Like, what are they doing over there, dude? They got like fucking Tom Clancy's Extraction, fucking Quarantine, The Division, fucking Rainbow Six, Frontline. Like, they're just like how many Tom Clancy games can you make in like a 3-year period? I like, are they
Well,
trying to break a world record or some shit? I don't get it.
well, like they did the wrong thing. Like remember we said like Ubisoft, we wanted Ubisoft to go a little bit more adventurous, right? And
Yeah,
they did it with Rainbow Six Extraction. Like, why not put that same idea into fucking Division? Like
yeah.
that world is perfect for that type of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you go through like dark alleys and stuff, you expecting something to jump out at you. Nope, it's just a thug holding his gun sideways. That's
Yeah,
it. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, they're all like
Ubis-
live service games too, so they're all going to be free. You've got like Division Heartland, I think that's going to be free. You've fucking got Frontline, that's going to be free. Extraction, I think is free. I don't know.
Yeah, why are they all naming them Tom Clancy? Like these aren't books
Hey,
anymore.
dude, they are overvaluing that name. Like, they think that name is like the biggest shit ever. I mean, yeah, Tom Clancy's a big name, like it's a big brand name, but they are abusing it to the point that they are like running it into the ground. They're risking it losing any cachet like it has, because I hear Tom Clancy and I groan at this point with Ubisoft. Like, I'm like, oh, well, I don't care about this game. It's like that's that's like the point they're at, dude. So I don't know, man. Like, clean it up, Ubisoft. It's not a good look. And then Montreal. So we were excited about this Mario Party game, right? Coming out
Yeah,
tomorrow. It's coming out tomorrow after today's Thursday.
yeah,
And I saw on Twitter that they have one of the old spin the analog stick mini games in there. The the tug of war game mini
yeah,
game where you spin the analog stick. Who What crack is Nintendo on? Like, can we just call it for what it is at this point? Like, I feel like they just do this shit on purpose. Like, they're legitimately, they want people to break their controllers so that they have to go buy another one. Like, I'm like, this is, I know this is like tinfoil hat shit, but I don't I don't even care anymore. Like, I think this is a real legitimate thing they're trying to do, because you take that on top of the fact that they are re-releasing the N64 controller in the exact form pretty much that it was in 20-25 years ago, and then you've got the Joy-Con drift shit that they've never fixed and they pretend doesn't exist, and like, they've tried to defend themselves in these lawsuits. I just feel like they are sinister, straight up. Like, they want their controllers to break.
bro. The company is ran by a dude named Bowser. What you expect?
Okay, end of conversation, I guess. Fair enough. God damn it. Well, speaking of the N64 controller, you saw the button mapping that they did for the Switch
Yep,
controls.
I sent it to
Yeah,
you,
you
right?
sent that to me. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're I don't I don't understand this company, man. Like, who came up with this shit and was like, "Oh, this is a good idea." Because let me explain it visually to everybody. So, the N64 controller, on the right side of the controller, there's 6 buttons. There's the C buttons, which are the yellow buttons that are like directional arrow buttons, and then there's an A button and a B button. So the positioning of the buttons, the A button and the B button are on the like left side. They're at an angle. All these buttons are kind of at an angle, so they're going diagonally up the side of the controller. So A and B are right next to each other, and then like kind of on the same parallel line, you've got the C buttons, and you've got C bottom next to A, C left next to B, and then C up and C right next to those first 2 C buttons. And what Nintendo does with the map, so that you can play Switch games with this controller. That's part of the appeal of buying it. And they mapped the face buttons. So A, that's the bottom button on the right side. Like, that's your like, your main button, the one that your thumb is going to rest on. So they made that so on the Switch, the buttons are like in a diamond pattern. They made the A button, which is the bottom button on the N64 controller. They made that the right button in the diamond on the Switch. The B, which is the left button in the diamond on the N64, is the bottom button where your finger rests on the Switch. And then they made C left the left button on the diamond. Okay. I guess like you think, okay, maybe that makes sense logically. But then C down is the top button of the fucking diamond. And I just like it makes like literally no sense. They like completely changed the orientation of the button mapping with this. And I don't, why is this so hard? They should have just made it like B is the left button in the diamond because that's the left button on the N64 controller. A is the bottom button on the diamond. That's the bottom button in the N64 controller. It's like, but no, they had to get like weird with it. I don't know.
This has got to be the worst control scheme I've ever seen.
I
I'm
agree.
really trying to wrap my head around this, and it's
Mm-hmm.
because why is B on the Switch? Why is B? Why on the Switch is B on the 64? B on the Switch is A on the 64.
Yeah.
X on the Switch is C pad left on the 64, and A on the Switch is C pad down on the 64. Like you said, it just what? It's
Yeah, like
already confusing if you switch between Xbox and fucking Switch. Like
mm-hmm.
I get confused all the fucking time where my Y button's at,
Yeah.
right? So it's like that's so dumb.
Yeah, I don't know. Go look. I encourage everybody go look at a picture of the mapping because it's mind-boggling. It literally broke my brain when Montrell sent it to me. I'm like, huh? Like, how did you sit in a room and brainstorm and this is what you came up with? Like, what? I don't know, man. So, yeah, that's it's great. Nintendo's doing a great job. Sony on the other Sony also.
Now you can use the right stick for the C's as well, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay, I was getting ahead of myself. Let's get into the rigmarole first. So, for those of you who haven't listened before, this is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast app of choice. Montrell, let's get started like we always do with what we've been playing, not the news. I'm fucking lost this week. Do you want to start or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. I've been playing 2 games, really just one. The other one I played for like 4 hours. So I resubbed to Final Fantasy 14 because I've been meaning to do that for like 2 or 3 weeks now. And I finished the Shadowbringers patches. So I am fully completed on the main storyline that's out for Final Fantasy 14 right now. I did this obviously in anticipation of Endwalker coming out in the next few weeks. I do plan on getting into that. And it was enjoyable, but it took me like 4 hours to get through 9 quests, and it was kind of obnoxious. I didn't really plan on playing that long on Saturday, but that's what ended up happening. So all done with that. I haven't logged in since. I don't really know if I'm going to until Endwalker comes out, but I might. I don't know. It really depends. There is some grinding that I need to do and stuff for some of the subclasses and the crafting jobs and stuff, but I don't know if I'm in the mood for it right this second because I'm still playing Mass Effect 3, and I have made significant progress since last week, since I started playing last week. I think last week I had just started it. I was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours in. I'm probably 20 to 25 more. So I'm in the 25 to 30 range in terms of total hours played. Right now, this is the main game I've been playing, and there's a reason why. This game is fucking good. I know I mentioned last week that like the jump from 2 to 3 was really jarring and like stark in how much better 3 was than 2 in terms of gameplay feel, but
yeah,
I think this game is just better, like, period, at this point than 2. Like, like not that close either to me. I'm enjoying this game way more than I did too. Like, I almost can't put it down.
I will say one thing about it that I noticed that I didn't like. You get way less dialogue options in two in
Yes,
one.
that's my one. That is so okay. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up because that is the biggest criticism I have with this game. Is it does feel like, because I remember the game's development cycle. It came out 3 years after 2 did. And you can tell that they really didn't have time to do everything they wanted to do. That's clear. The original ending, is pretty clear that was the case. But the place you can really tell this, though, is what Montrell just said. The dialogue options is that most conversations are very linear in their dialogue, and the branching options that you get to pick between, it's usually only 2, and they usually lead to the same place. They don't
Mm-hmm.
they don't branch nearly as much as they did in the previous 2 games. And then sometimes there's a third option, but that third option is usually just like an information option where you can like get more information about something somebody just said. It's not actually a choice per se. And so that's like the thing about it though. The funny part about it though, Montreal, is that I don't view it that much as a criticism, because playing these games back to back, or somewhat back to back, I'm kind of like ready to be done. I don't need all these options. I've been through 2 games with that shit, and I think it's an inherent part of the game's design too, is that they need to keep it clean. They can't let you make too many decisions within this game, because there's so many decisions from prior games that are affecting things that are happening to you in this game, that they really can't let you change too much, because it would really just throw off like the trees of the decision trees. They're trying to bring everything into a nice conclusion, in this game. So it makes sense, and I don't hate it for it. I really actually don't mind it. It makes the experience much smoother too. There's not much opportunity to really fuck up and like, fuck your save up or anything like that. For the most part. I think, but that's also that's also another criticism of the game, I guess, is that a lot of what happens in this game is already decided by the time you start the game up, if you import your save, or even if you don't import your save, because you're a non-imported character has specific key decisions that are already flagged for you, like by default in one way or another.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you really enjoy the conversation aspect of Mass Effect, then this is probably the worst game in the series for that. But for me, like as an overall experience, the game is just fucking fun and it's good. Like the story's good, the dialogue is good, the dialogue that's there is good. Every character kind of gets their day in the sun, kind of thing. And it's just a really nice wrap up for the whole trilogy, for me. And the gameplay is just so much better. It just feels so much better. You have way more options at your disposal. Movement is just so much smoother. There legitimately are different build options in this game too, different ways you can play. Being a melee focused character is actually possible in this game versus the other ones, which was like kind of an afterthought for the most part. So that's a really cool element to it as well. And I just think the game's really fun. I'm having a great time with it. I'm I forgot how much of it I blotted out of my memory because of the ending. It's so obvious to me that like past me was really unfair to this game. I got really wrapped up in the ending controversy, and I mean for good reason. Like it was a disappointing ending, in retrospect for sure. But it shouldn't have overshadowed the rest of the game as much as it did, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, and I like the fact, I think the other element I like to this game is that there's just not that much fluff in it, the way there is in the other 2. Like going around the galaxy map, like it doesn't take you 85 hours to fucking explore the galaxy map like it does in 2. Because there's no planet surveying. There's not a lot of side missions that aren't like actually important. So and the ones that are there are really short. They're like 10 or 15 minutes at most, for
Yeah.
the most part. So it's just like even doing the side content in this game doesn't feel cumbersome, you know? So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I was really disappointed by the planet surveying thing. But I guess that it makes sense because the Reapers are always constantly chasing you in this game.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, and you're in the state of rushing, so you don't really have the luxury of like surveying and stuff like that like you did in 2 and 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really do like the planet surveying too. It opened up the universe a lot more. That make even though it's the same universe, it just really opened it up compared to like 1 and 3.
Yeah, it's just I couldn't do that for another game, dude. You know, like yeah, like 2 burnt me out, you know, on Mass Effect, and it's like I don't I think that's why I appreciate how lean 3 is in terms of its design, like because there's no planet surveying for the most part. Like there's like scanning, you can scan like the galaxy map for hidden items. And then you can go scan a planet real quick and go get the item. But you're only doing like you're only scanning for that one thing. You're not scanning the whole planet. So it's much quicker in that regard, and it's just that and then the side content is quick to do for the most part. So I feel like I'm not like I don't know. There's just not like I said. There's not that much fluff. It's like the game is kind of getting down to business. It kind of just gets down to business, you know. So I feel like I'm probably gonna beat it this weekend. More than likely, I'm only like 4 missions away from the end. I think of the main missions. So I'm pretty close. I do have a lot of side content I need to do. I haven't done the DLCs or anything like that, but this game is really it's aged a lot better than the other 2 have, for sure, for me. So, Montreal, what have you been playing, sir?
So I played some more Scarlet Nexus. Um, I like the game. It's definitely like a action RPG light. There are combos you can do and everything of that nature. Um, yeah, it's a fun little action RPG or action JRPG. It's nothing too deep. The story is confusing as fuck, though. I will say that. But
I've heard
people,
that. I heard that about it.
yeah, people have told me to keep going and it makes sense at the end, but it is confusing as fuck so far. Um, just to give you an example, like people will it happens so abruptly too. It's not like a peaceful transition. Team members will fight you like almost like a coup, and then it'll be like your friend again, and it's so fucking weird. And like it doesn't flow organically. I know where the game is trying to go with it, but it just doesn't flow organically. And I think you have to play both characters to understand the flow of things. And I think that's the why they did it. But I still think that doesn't excuse the lack of flowing from from one narrative point to another narrative point. But besides that, the game is actually really fun. I like it. I think everyone should play it, or not everyone should play it. But if you like, if you want like a small JRPG action game, that's not really too, that's not really too deep. But it's not easy. That you can play this game. I've been playing a little bit more Apex. I just like this game a lot. I gotta stop saying. I did listen to the podcast last time. Anyway,
What do you mean?
I keep saying and like.
Oh.
I'm trying to stop saying that stuff. And in the long pauses I do.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so I
someday
am playing.
we'll pay somebody to edit that shit out, and we won't have to worry about it.
But I did play a lot of Apex, or I played Apex yesterday with Jet and them, and I was kind of hanging with them. We didn't win anything, but we were getting second place and third place a lot, so it was pretty fun. The Halloween event, I almost spent money on the Halloween costumes because they look very fucking good this season. I think I am going to buy this Bloodhound costume.
Yeah, dude, that costume is fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I finally broke and got the Wraith one the other day. The witch one, the witch costumes.
One? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought those were really good.
I think I'm gonna get that one as well. I think I'm gonna get the Bloodhound one because that one I can't pass that one up. So I think I'm gonna get that one tomorrow, or tonight when I play, rather. And then I've been playing this new free to play game. Well, it's not really new; it's been out for a while actually. But my friend told me to download it, and he's like, "Hey, let's play it." And it's called Vigor. So it's a loot and shoot game, a survival loot and shoot game. You pretty much load in. You got like 6 or 7 maps you can load into. You got 15 minutes. You and 16 other players have 15 minutes to loot the map and then get out. Now within those 60 minutes, you loot. If you see other players, you shoot them and you take their loot, and then you get out. But you can only hold a certain amount in your bag before you become before you become cumbersome. It's a third person shooter, and it's like if so what I'm describing is pretty much Escape from Tarkov. If you're a viewer, you're like, oh, or listener, you're like, oh, well, that's pretty much Escape from Tarkov. Yes, it's an easier version of Escape from Tarkov, and I absolutely love it. It's not as punishing as it as Escape from Tarkov. If you do get killed out in the field with the equipment that you came in with, you will lose that equipment. So it is a little bit more harsh in that sense. Um, but everything else, they kind of teach you how to play the game. Whereas in Escape from Tarkov, they kind of just throw you in the game, and then there's like not really a tutorial. It's also free to play. So with Escape from Tarkov, you got to pay like $30 to play the game, um, for it to be that harsh. Whereas with this game, you don't have to do that. And so some key differences between Escape from Tarkov and Vigor. One is the map. On Escape from Tarkov, they really want to try to be realistic. So there isn't really any. You can mark the map, but you can't see where you are on the map. So you have to memorize the landmarks and everything of that nature. In this game, they have map markers. You're being tracked on the map and everything of that nature. They have a compass, and Escape from Tarkov, you don't have a compass. You have to carry a compass, actually physically look at it in your hand. Um, Stuff like that. So I really like the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a little bit much. Escape from Tarkov is a little bit much for me. But I really like this game. It's like a mix of Escape from Tarkov. It's like Escape from Tarkov, but like easy mode, and the easy mode is still hard.
Escape from
So
Tarkov Light.
yeah, there you go. That's a good example, and it's third person. So I think if you guys kind of like those kind of games, you can get into it. I'm enjoying it with me and my friend. We're playing it. We put a lot of hours into it. We're building our little base. So that's another thing. Like your base is just your instance. So when you go back to base, no one else comes back to base with you. You can use your base you can upgrade it. The materials you find out in the field, you upgrade your base so you can get more food. You can use the food to trade for better gear, better guns. You get gun schematics, and you level up your workbench and all this other stuff like that. So it's really cool. I like it. And for a free to play game, like it's really I bought the battle pass, and the battle pass was like $5, I think. I've been enjoying the hell out of the game, so I recommend it to a lot of people. It's a free to play game. I recommend playing it with a friend because it makes it that much more enjoyable. But yeah,
Is it on PC,
oh,
PlayStation,
it is
Xbox?
on. I think it's on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. I don't think it's cross compatible. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
Okay. What are you playing
Uh,
on?
PlayStation 4, 5, I would say 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, that's what we've been playing. Let us jump into the news. We've got a lot of Sony news this week. So let's start with the state of play that happened yesterday on 10/27. I didn't even watch this, but I heard it was so bad. And there was only one thing in here that was even remotely interesting to me, which was Star Ocean at the end. And
Oh my god.
Montrell said that he wasn't interested in literally anything at this state of play. So let's talk about Star Ocean real quick. So Square announced Star Ocean: The Divine Force, and I watched the trailer, and it's Montrell, why don't you give your thoughts first? What did you think of it?
All right, there was one game I was interested in. I'm sorry, before we get on to
Okay.
Star Ocean.
Yeah. Yep.
King of Fighters looked really good. I'm really interested in that game. But
King of Fighters 15?
15, yeah, the beta's coming out. So I'm going to be playing. It's been a while since I played a fighter like hardcore. So I'm looking forward to it because it looks like the game that'll get me back into fighters.
Okay.
But yeah, I tried to play Dragon Ball Fighters, but it just got really meta really fast. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this is not. But anyway, Star Ocean reminds me of a great value Xenoblade. That's exactly what it is. I don't care what anyone says. The aesthetics is that. The aesthetics is that. But the gameplay is not, right? The gameplay is not that.
Yeah.
But each Star Ocean I play, don't count the PS2 one because that one was probably the only good one I played.
Yeah.
I did not like. I think it was called Last Hope. That was on the Xbox 360. I did not. I did not like the one that was on the PS4. And then
The God, what was it called? Integrity and Faithlessness or something like that.
yeah, that was supposed to be the one that brought the franchise back. No, that shit was ass too.
I didn't even play that one. I heard it was so bad. Like, and I'm
Yeah.
a big Star Ocean fan, dude.
I'm not. Every Star Ocean game I play has been sheer disappointment. It has, man. Like
Yeah.
I know a lot of people. It has a huge cult following. Like
No,
I
Star Ocean's tough, man. Okay, because I'm surprised it even is getting another game because there was a period where Tri-Ace, which is the developer that's made most of the Star Ocean games,
yeah.
they were working on mobile games before Star Ocean 5 came out, and then they made Star Ocean 5, and that came out of nowhere. And then that game was terrible, or everybody says it was terrible, and it didn't do very well. I'm surprised they're making it. They're even making another one. And like, so Star Ocean has an interesting history because the PS2 game is the best game in the series, probably.
Yeah.
But it has an ending that I talked about last week that's like hyper divisive and has ruined the franchise for a lot of people because the twist that happens in that game. And what I need to know about this game is like, where in the timeline does it take place? Because that twist is so there's a specific. It's such a the way it is. Like, what it does to the story going forward is, I don't know if they can make another game in the future of Star Ocean, based on what happens at the end of that game. So I'm curious to know if this is just going to be another prequel game, because ever since that game, they've been making prequels. 4 was a prequel, 5 was a prequel, and I don't know, is this one another prequel? Because if that's what they do, then this franchise is like it's basically dead. Like, because it's not that interesting to keep jumping around the timeline and like going to different parts of the fucking timeline with this series. Because 4, Last Hope. So Last Hope is a tough one because the story in that game sucks absolute dick.
But
Like,
the combat is really fucking good.
But the combat is some of the best shit I've seen in a JRPG. Like, I'm not even kidding. I'm like, I feel real. That's the way it is with that game. So it's like it's like the combat is so good, it uplifts the game to the point that it's like a good game to play. Like, it's a fun game. But 5, I have no idea about. But this game, like the trailer, watching it, we didn't get very much gameplay in terms of combat gameplay. Like, not a lot of sustained shots, I guess. Like, we really only got like 1 or 2 seconds at a time of combat. So it was hard for me to glean anything out of it. There was some like running around, and apparently the character can fucking fly and like glide and shit, which
so
fucking weird as fuck, dude. I don't really get that element to the game, like, because the character does like a fucking like what, a T pose in the fucking air or whatever. I don't even know. And then he does this weird fucking pose when he's gliding where he looks like a fucking character posing for like a fighting game. Like, I'm like, bro, like, what the fuck are you doing? And then the character models look like total ass, dude. I'm just like, not to be mean, but
it is coming out for the PS4.
Okay, but it doesn't. I'm not talking about like fidelity or anything like that. I'm talking about design of the characters, like the faces of these characters. Like the main character, the blonde dude who's using a fucking sword, looks like he doesn't look like a human to me. Like, and the voice acting didn't sound good. I'm like, oh no, dude. Like, is this where Star Ocean is? Is this what this franchise is at this point? Is it just bad, dude? Like, it's just a bad series. Like, I don't know, man.
Justin, it's bad.
It is. I'm probably gonna play it though. I think I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna
Justin,
try it. I'm
you're
gonna
the
go play it.
astronaut meme. You're the astronaut. Has Star Ocean always been this bad?
Is Star Ocean bad now?
It's always
And then
been.
you're like behind me with the gun. Always has been, motherfucker. Like fuck, dude. No, don't do this to me, man. Don't betray me like that. Oh, this feels so bad.
Man, I'm telling y'all, Star Ocean fans, I need to let it go, man.
I'm
The
going through my emotions right now, dude.
The only good one was 2. Y'all need, 3. That was the only good one. You guys gotta let it go.
I think 1 and 2 are good. They're just like old, like Super
Yeah,
NES games.
they're old as fuck. So
yeah.
But you guys gotta let it go. I'm sorry. Like, it's like Sonic fans, honestly. To be honest with you, like
he admits it at least.
yeah,
Hey, there you go.
It's like Sonic fans. Like, we have to let go of Sonic Adventure 2. Like, we know it was the greatest Sonic game on earth. Like, we know that they're never going to live up to that anymore. Yeah. And I'm sorry, God. I'm sorry.
But
and unfortunately, like, y'all in the same boat. Like, they're never going to live up to Star Ocean 3.
Yeah,
like never. Story was good, combat was good.
Yeah,
like everything was clicking in that game.
Yeah, that game could use a remake. That's like my only hope for a good Star Ocean game is that they remake 3 because 3's combat I'd say doesn't hold up super well. And that's like the one thing they seem to be able to get right with this series. So if you take that with a game that already has a story that's, pre-made and is good, then, maybe we could get an amazing Star Ocean game. Like that's like my only hope, dude, that's left in this fucking world with the series. Because no, this looks like budget Xenoblade. Like you're right. It definitely does.
It looks so bad. When I saw it and I saw people getting hyped on my timeline, I'm like, ain't no way. Y'all, ain't no way y'all hype for this game. Y'all have to be starving. Are you that thirsty for something? Like,
yeah, man. We are. Bro, like sci-fi JRPGs are dead. Okay, it's literally Xenoblade Chronicles, and that's it. And that isn't even full sci-fi. Like, I wouldn't consider that the sci-fi I'm thinking of. Like, I want like a Mass Effect style like JRPG, and it just Star Ocean's it. That's it. We get thirsty as fuck, man. We haven't had water in fucking years, okay? Like,
you guys can always go play Phantasy Star Online.
No, because that's just as bad, okay? I played Phantasy Star Online too, and it looks like this. It looks like budget fucking Xenoblade. And I can't get past the aesthetics, okay? It just doesn't look good, and I played it, and it just doesn't play as well as I was hoping it would play, okay? It sucks. It sucks. These games, God damn it. God, so upset.
Damn, you're right. Upset. I get you. Some people will count Final Fantasy VII as a sci-fi.
Fuck that! Get the fuck out of here! You fucking no, dude. That's steampunk, and that's it. Like, shut up. It's not sci-fi. Like,
okay. No. What about 12?
12? 12's like no. It's not sci-fi. No. The closest thing to sci-fi 15? In Final Fantasy is probably 13.
Okay, I can get you 13.
That's probably the closest thing to sci-fi. And it's not sci-fi. Like, let's be straight about that. It's not sci-fi. Like Tales of Arise is like sort of sci-fi-ish. It's got some sci-fi elements to it, because there's like multiple planets.
I feel like they wanted to go sci-fi, but they were too scared to go sci-fi.
They are too scared to go sci-fi. They're pussies over there at Bandai Namco. Like, they are. They're conservative. Like, they don't want to take chances, man.
I feel like whatchamacallit, Scarlet Nexus was that. That's like cyberpunkish. I would call it cyberpunkish instead of like sci-fi. True sci-fi.
Yeah, so they're killing me, man, because I want a sci-fi JRPG. I do, and I like Xenoblade Chronicles X is the closest thing we've ever gotten to like that, like an excellent sci-fi game. Like, but it's not. It's a sci-fi game. It definitely is. But you never leave the planet you're on. You don't like planet hop. There's no like multiple planets or anything like that. I want like a planet hopping JRPG that's sci-fi. That's what I want. So. But if you want a good one and you've never played Star Ocean, till the end of time. Go check it out. Give it a shot. It's good.
I will also say I think they made a definitive edition of Star Ocean 4, so
They
you can
did,
play
yeah,
that.
the international version.
Yeah,
Actually, they released it. I bought it a while back because I wanted to play it again. Because that combat is just so like fucking good, you know. Also for some reason I want to get that game's platinum trophy and like hurt myself, but I probably won't. But yeah, you can get that on PS5. So
yeah. So I do recommend it if you can get past the story. I mean, the story.
it's
We
not
say it's
bad
bad.
until the
No,
end
no,
of the
no,
game.
yeah.
Yeah,
So the
yeah,
story is like a Mass Effect
yeah.
almost, right? It's like Mass Effect 3. The ride there is really good, or it's doable. But yeah,
Well, it's
the
like a
ending.
Rise almost. There's a point in the game where it flips and the story suddenly it goes from being really intriguing and good to just awful, like, you know, and bad, and then it never gets better. It just keeps getting worse from there. It's really like that.
Oh my god, I was thinking about the Rise the other day. How many like reveals they did within the
Yeah.
last 3/4 of that game? It was
Yeah.
fucking crazy. That's so
Oh,
fucking
dude,
crazy.
they shoved like 4 games worth of twists into the last like 6 hours of that game. I'm like, my brother was texting me about it because he beat it the other day, and
Yeah.
he was souring on it as much as we were, but then he beat the game, and he like for some reason like his opinion like got better, and
What?
I'm like, how did your opinion get better at the end of the game? Like the final fight's so annoying. I hate everything about it. Like it pisses me off. There's so many ass pulls. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Like so I don't know, but he's kind of a I think he's kind of a Tails like apologist a little bit with it. He just wants Tails to be
Oh my
good, you know.
god.
He doesn't want to accept that
Um,
Tails is kind of like Star Ocean where it hasn't been good in a long time, you know, and maybe we need to let it go too. Fuck. There's a lot of truth coming out on this episode of the show, man.
yeah, man. You just gotta let it go. Like, and y'all got to let go of Star Ocean, man. Just let it go. I'm sorry, y'all. Like this, I
No.
saw this when I saw this game. No joke. I'm like, wow, they're bringing the PS Vita. They're bringing PS Vita back.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, the Vita's back.
I mean, come
And they
on, man.
said,
Don't be such an asshole.
no,
You
I'm being
fucking
dead
fuck
ass.
you,
I'm
man.
being.
This is bullshit. God damn it. It's not that bad looking. God,
It's
dude.
it's impressive how they got a game to run at 5 frames per second on a fucking
I
PS5.
mean,
So I
there
know
are
that's a
some frame drops in the trailer. That is true. He's not kidding about that. I don't know how they pulled that off, dude. I don't yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It's bad, man. It's bad over here, okay? It's bad. But you know what? I'm still gonna try it. I'm probably gonna try it. Even though I'm probably gonna do what I did with 5, where I'm gonna wait till it comes out, see what people say, and then decide yes or no.
I'm just
But
gonna buy it when it's $10.
the
That's
specific reason I didn't play 5 though is not because it was bad. It's because there was a lot of discussion about there being really weird relationships in that game between some of the characters, like adults hitting on kids kind of stuff, and I was like,
man.
ooh.
I didn't get that far in it, man.
So
So
that kind of scared me off from it. So yeah, whatever. All right, I need to stop watching this trailer. It's hurting me. Okay.
you don't like the flying they're doing? They really shut
No,
up that
it looks
flying.
so bad. It looks so bad. Like, dude, it looks like something I would make, when I'm like trying to test out making flying in a game in like Unity or something, you know? Like I like some canned animation, where they like they do like a T pose or something. That's what it looks like, dude. It's not good, man. And I don't. And it looks like there's like little collectibles you can get when you're flying. That's like, what is this, like
Whoa.
Sonic the Hedgehog or something? Like,
Yeah, man.
you know, like fuck me, dude. So all right,
So I do want to mention one more thing about this
okay,
state of play.
yeah,
Like, whoa, we all were waiting for it. Like, I saw so many forum posts. I saw Twitter blowing up on it. I saw ESPN talking about it. I saw everybody. Everybody was talking about the little devil inside me. Like, we just couldn't wait that it got like a 25 minutes like spot at the end of fucking the state of play. Like, we just couldn't wait for it, y'all. No one asked for this. What did we do to y'all, Sony? Why do y'all hate us? Why?
yeah. I don't know. We I guess We don't spend enough money, Montrell. We're
The
not like
game looks good, by
Nintendo
the
fans,
way.
you
I'm
know?
not hating on the game. The game looks fun, but I don't think people were like, "Oh, you guys say they coughed it up in the state of play." Like, "Oh, guys, and be like, got a little surprise for you guys. We're gonna talk about little devils inside and go in depth on what it is, like it's fucking God of War or something." Nope, no, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
y'all. Like, it's not
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's move on. All right.
4 minutes was wasted on that shit. 4 minutes.
I mean,
All right.
3 minutes was wasted on Star Ocean. Hold on. No. Let me take that back. 25 minutes was wasted on that state of play.
Yeah, that was a bastard. They need to just stop.
Yeah,
I'm
just stop.
sorry.
Just save it all for a PlayStation showcase in like a year, and
Yeah,
that's all I need. Just give me 2 of those a year, and I'm good. Not even like maybe one every 9 months or something. You know, like,
yeah.
and then I'm good. That's all I need, Sony. You know that shit because that shit was good. Okay, these state of
It,
plays they have set me up. They've set us all up now to expect that state of play is ass. Like straight up. Cause dude, I didn't even watch it yesterday. I literally didn't think about it until today when I was putting the news together. And you want to know why? Because they've set it up that way that I just like I don't care. There's nothing exciting about state of play. Like they just set it up like it's a bad thing now, you know?
yeah,
Like so
everybody, like from Reddit all the way down to Twitter, it was just like, oh yeah, it's a state of play today. Like I forgot about it until I saw it. Like I actually reminded myself on YouTube to set up a reminder for me, and it was like, hey, state of play's coming out in an hour. I'm like, oh shit, that's today. Fuck. Like I completely forgot about it. It's
mhm.
so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
All right.
All
Let's
right,
move on.
let's move on.
We
Yeah.
gotta keep moving, Montreal. We're 45 minutes into the show already. All right, and we've only talked about one news story. God. All right. Next story. This was from a few weeks ago. Jim Ryan gave a really interesting interview about their plan with PC, the model they kind of want to go with bringing their games to PC. So I'm only going to read parts of quotes here. So, quote, I would like to see a world where the games that we make at PlayStation can be enjoyed by many tens of millions of people, perhaps hundreds of millions of people. Right now, success with the current console model, a really great PlayStation hit, you're talking 10 or 20 million people being able to play that game. He can continuing. We're talking about games stacking up against music. We're talking about games stacking up against movies, music and movies. They can be enjoyed by almost limitless audiences. And I think some of the art that our studios are making is some of the finest entertainment that has been made anywhere in the world. And to kind of gate the audience for the wonderful art, wonderful entertainment that our studios are making, to gate the audience for that 20 that are at 20 or 30 million frustrates me. I would love to see a world where hundreds of millions of people can enjoy those games. And quote. So this was this was surprisingly candid when I read this article from him because they've obviously they're pushing the PC market hard now with their games. They're bringing a game every few months to PC, one of their exclusives. But I mean, Montreal, how does this strike you? What do you think this means for them in the future? Do you think they will do you think that day and date PC releases with their console exclusives is possible?
No.
Okay.
God, no. No. That's off the table. Maybe I think the time frame would be shorter now. I think it would be like
Mm-hmm.
maybe 2 or 3 months instead of like a whole 4 or 5 years. But like
Mm-hmm.
day and date, no. Probably like I'll give it like 4 months to a year.
Yeah.
Um and then that's about it. But I did like what he said about everything else because I said the same thing that PlayStation wants their view. They want people to experience games in different ways. I
Mm-hmm.
said that like last week when we were talking about the movies and everything of that nature. Um, they're probably going to tell the same stories, but when we watch the movies, we have to watch them as a casual viewer because
Mm-hmm.
The Last of Us, we experience The Last of Us through this way, whereas somebody like our girlfriends or wives or boyfriends or whoever like listening, like they may experience it in a different way because they don't play video games like us. So I think that's a good strategy. And I don't have any objection to it. The only objection I will have, or not objection, but concern is the execution. Like when you're doing stuff like that, you have to be on point and
Mhm.
it's impossible to be on point in everything you do. But yeah, you gotta nail it. So
Yeah.
hopefully they do nail it with their key IPs
Mhm.
and things of that nature.
Yeah, two things I took out of this, and they're not really related to Sony per se, or at least like directly with the PC strategy, but it's clear that they are now taking an approach that they want to get as many people playing their games as possible, which makes sense. I mean, any business would want that, but their model up to this point has always been exclusive, and like pushing console sales. But it seems like Sony is really starting to push software sales a lot more than they used to. And given that, what are their options, right? Going to PC is natural. That's obvious. You have a huge audience there, like fucking massive audience with PC with their games that they can expose their games to. So that's an obvious one. But to me, it kind of makes me think about like the industry at large, though, is that this is something that I think all the manufacturers, Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, are probably all thinking about is 10 years from now, 20 years from now, like how can we maximize reach with games? And I mean, the obvious answer right now is streaming games. And obviously, right now, it's not an adequate solution to the problem because it's just not like we can't, like latency is not good. Like input delay is not good. And that makes the experience bad. But if they can ever fix those things, that's the answer, dude. If we can ever get to a point where that becomes viable, then that's their answer, because then you could play it on any device, almost pretty much. Because that's the problem with games is you need a very specific device to play video games, especially the kind of games that Sony makes, because they're high fidelity, extremely demanding games, and that like inherently restricts your market based on that. That's why Nintendo is so interesting, because they don't do that. But the funny part about Nintendo is their games could play on way more devices than Sony's games, and yet they are the most exclusive heavy publisher there is. Like the idea of them putting Mario or Metroid or something on PC is like fucking laughable, Like I feel like they'll fucking never do that shit, you know. Even though to me, I think Nintendo's stupid, because like if they put their games on everything, they would be selling as much as GTA does. Like some of their games would probably sell as much as fucking like GTA 5 is sold. Maybe not that crazy, but like I mean, we're talking like I think like Mario Kart 8 probably could have sold like fucking 60 million copies, if it was on like PlayStation and Xbox and PC, like think about
Mm-hmm.
that. If everybody had access to it, like how much their games would sell. So I think that's the interesting thing with Nintendo, is because remember when the Switch came out, like we were all thinking Nintendo was dead. Like if the Switch didn't succeed, they were going to like kind of fold as a hardware manufacturer and go into just making games and letting other people publish their games, or not publish their games, but putting their games on other people's platforms, and obviously that hasn't happened, but it does make me wonder if that future had come to pass, like it could it have been more lucrative for Nintendo in the long run, because their games have mass appeal, in a way
Yeah,
that Sony's and Xboxes definitely don't. So it's interesting.
I don't know. I, I don't know. Nintendo on PC without it just being an emulator is a pipe dream. I don't think that would
Mhm.
ever happen.
I agree. It's going to take a severe change, like a new head of the company, that has a completely different vision from what they're doing now. So yeah, I wouldn't expect it anytime soon. But it's silly because Nintendo, out of all of them, feels like the one that should do it, because they would make the most money off of it.
Yeah, but then their products probably wouldn't sell as much. So
True, they definitely lose money on the hardware side. But all right, let's move on. Next story. So earlier this month, Sony announced that, and they did this in very light whisper. It was mostly, I think they mostly just emailed people. They didn't announce this like officially. um, they are removing the ability to buy games with credit, debit cards, and PayPal on PS3 and Vita stores, their native stores. Now, they're not shutting the stores down. You can still buy games, but the only way to do it on these devices now is to go on a different device, a browser, a PS4, a PS5, or your phone, and put money into your wallet there, and then go to the console you want to buy something on and buy it that way. So Montreal, they're trying to kill this store. They're trying to kill these stores again. Like, a few months after they tried to kill them and got yelled off the precipice, basically. And I mean, what do you think of their approach here?
It's definitely a silent approach. I mean, you can still buy stuff, so I mean, I guess, man, but you gotta be careful.
I don't understand, like, why, if you want to close the stores so bad, just say like a year from now they're closing. That's all you had to do. That's it. If you had given us ample time to like deal with the fallout of the stores closing or let us buy the games we want to buy, I don't think nobody would be mad.
Yeah.
I just like I don't like, why do you have to do this like weird underhanded shit? It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. I mean, they got taken down, I think it was yesterday. So you already can't use these payment methods anymore. So, I wouldn't be surprised if another announcement of the stores closing comes very, very soon. So, that would be my expectation. I feel like they're foreshadowing. All right. We got one more Sony story, Montreal, and this one's much more of a strategy one than anything. So they hired recently. They actually did this a while back, but this has just become like public recently. Is that Sony hired Apple's former head of content for Apple Arcade, Nicola Sebastiani. And he is leading their mobile efforts as, I think he's a VP of their mobile division now. And this guy was like hyper successful for Apple as the head of Apple Arcade. He's made Apple a fuck ton of money with his strategies, and he's probably got a lot of connections within the mobile industry as well in terms of games and stuff like that. So I don't want to talk about this necessarily in terms of like what this means for their mobile games, because I don't think either of us really care about their mobile games per se. I'm not super interested in them, but what I kind of want to talk about here is like, we talked about their TV stuff last week. We've talked about PC just now, and now it seems like they really are making a real push on the mobile side. They're going to have a lot of mobile games coming out soon, I think, and we're going to start hearing announcements about them very soon. What do you think about Sony's kind of multi-pronged approach here? I mean, they've got mobile they're pushing, television and movies, VR, they're putting games on PC now. This is like a complete stark contrast from the PS4 generation, where it was really just the console for the most part, and then you had VR. Do you think this is a good approach for them?
Yeah, I mean, they always, before everything popped off, you got to remember they always been a mobile division or the mobile company. So it looks like now they're actually trying to push back into that market.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it will be actually, as crazy as it may sound, actually be okay to have someone else in the mobile market besides Apple and Samsung. I mean, I know we got other little companies here and there, but if Sony can slowly push their way back into the mobile market, that would be cool. And maybe it's just games, then that would be cool as well. And then they start off with something, then they go from there bigger.
Mm-hmm.
But it is interesting that they're just pushing back into that mobile division and things of that nature. So that tells me also, though, I'm gonna tell you a different way, that they have no more plans. This is a very, 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 very tinfoil hat conspiracy, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they have any plans for any kind of Vita 2, Vita-esque anything. They're going strictly
Oh yeah.
mobile.
No, I agree. I think the Vita 2 hopes are long dead at this point, which again, I think is a little weird. I mean, they could definitely compete with Nintendo if they wanted to, but I think they've given up on that side of things, at least for the time being, for sure. Because it makes sense. Like, if you're gonna go mobile, I mean, Nintendo's doing it side by side with Switch too. They have mobile as well, so mobile games as well, and highly successful ones at that. So, but it's still, I think this is a starting point for them with it, and honestly, there is definitely some potential for mobile games with some of their IPs. that I could see being successful. So I don't have a problem with them doing this, of course, and I actually like the fact because they're not using their own studios to make these games, and I'm actually happy about that because I don't want those studios being distracted making mobile games. Like they're too good to have a division making mobile games. Like there are mobile developers that know how to make mobile games. Just let them do it. Give them the IPs and let them make something good. I don't need Naughty Dog making a fucking Uncharted, fucking card game or some shit on mobile.
Well, I was thinking about like this, like maybe they can be the one to actually make mobile games seriously, like make serious mobile games,
Oh yeah.
like triple A single player. I gotta pay $10 to pay the game because it's a single player game, mobile game.
Like what was that one? Infinity Blade or whatever?
Yeah,
Back in the
yeah,
day, that was a long time ago, but
yeah,
that was one that was trying to do that, right?
yeah,
And actually did pretty well, right?
yeah. It did. And you remember there was a Mass Effect game that came out on mobile as well. A lot of people forgot about it.
There
But
was?
there was a Mass Effect
Oh,
single player mobile game that came
I didn't
out.
know that. Interesting.
So I think like if they approach it, I mean they're probably not, but if they can approach it from that way,
Mhm.
I think that would be a way for gamers to take mobile gaming seriously. Because right now, all of us see as a cash grab, even the ones who like gotcha games. We're like, it's just a little game I can play, on my break, put in $10 here and there, and then get to the next level or whatever the case may be, build my base or get a new character or whatever the case.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, just imagine like a JRPG, an actual JRPG on your phone. I like Capcom's approach because they're doing this. You can play Monster Hunter um stories too, the actual game. I have it on my
Mhm.
phone,
Yep.
and it plays just like the one on the Switch. It's just like a lower fidelity one, but it's the exact same game, and I love it. I'm like, this is cool. Like, this is an actual mobile game on my phone. So I think they should be able to do the same, or they should look at that kind of strategy as well as the gotcha game aspect games. But um, they should be the ones to pioneer that. If that makes any sense.
Mhm. Yeah, it does. I think it's a good move. And we'll see what comes of it. Probably really soon, actually. So I'm sure that I think we'll hear about the first game in the next. I mean, they already did announce technically one game, which is fuck, was it Wipeout? I think it was Wipeout. They're making a Wipeout mobile game. But it's not a racer. It's like a management game where you like manage a team of racers or some weird shit like that. So, um, but I'm sure we'll hear about more very soon. So,
Okay.
and we'll let you know when we do. All right, Montreal, let's move on. All right, on the heels of the release of the Nickelodeon Smash Bros. Fighter game, whatever, I forget what it's fucking called. Um, there has been a rumor that feels pretty legitimate that Warner Brothers is currently working on a Smash Brothers style fighter called Multiverses, and it's going to feature many of their biggest characters from some of their IPs. So this includes like Gandalf, Batman. Let's see, Shaggy from Scooby Doo, Fred Flintstone, Johnny Bravo, Tom and Jerry. So what do you think about this? We are on the cusp of, or it seems like we might be in the midst of a inundation of Smash Brothers style games with various companies' IP. How do you feel about that?
God, this comes back down to our conversation that we had 2 weeks ago
Mm-hmm.
about the licensed games. Now I'm starting to feel it. I said then I didn't really feel it, but now I am. Like, okay, guys,
Is this a bridge too far?
this is a bridge too far. No
Mm-hmm.
one asked for this. Like, the
Yeah.
Sega thing was okay. I mean Sega, the Nickelodeon thing was okay. Um, I s- I mean, yeah, it was okay, but this is like, I mean, they have so many IPs.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you got Austin Powers, The Matrix, you have Mad Max they can put in there, Mortal Kombat, like. So it's going to be a lot of stuff they can put in here, which is cool. But it's like at the same time, I don't think no one really asked for that. But it has been cool when they did it with other franchises, like they did with Mortal Kombat. They put a Predator, Alien, Terminator in there, Rambo, and I thought that was pretty cool. Like it was like your father's Smash Brothers, right? Like he was like, oh, if your father still played video games, and like, oh man, I remember these characters. Like this is so cool. So I think this is an attempt to get the younger audience, but a lot of their IPs are like very old. If that makes any sense. So it would be more so like for us, for like 30-year-olds and up, because like not a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people did grow up with like Harry Potter and Scooby Doo, but like Beetlejuice, Gremlins, a lot of kids were born when Lord of the Rings weren't even born when Lord of the Rings came out. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm in a little bit of a different space with this. I can't believe that it took this long for this to happen. I said fucking like 10 years ago. I remember having a conversation with my friends like, excuse me, why isn't everybody making Smash Brothers games with their fucking IP, Because as stupid as this sounds, like this game kind of sounds, like the idea of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo fighting Gandalf, it's like comical to think about, and it's gonna be funny to watch. Like you're gonna get clips of this shit where like Gandalf's like fucking like doing some epic shit and Shaggy's like throwing fucking like pots at him or something. It's like, I don't know, dude. Like I think it can work. I just think it's really, it depends. If these games all come out too close to each other within like, if we get like 5 or 6 of these in the next 2 or 3 years, dude, they're all going to kill them. They're going to kill each other because people are just going to get tired of this at a certain point, So you better get in quick. I think Nickelodeon getting in early worked, and is probably, that one probably feels like the one that has the most staying power to me out of a lot of other ones I can think of that could happen, because that game is, it's a bunch of cartoon IPs, it's like cartoony like Smash Brothers kind of is. And also those characters together like feels really goofy the way Smash Brothers does, it kind of feels right. This, on the other hand, feels, it almost feels a little cloying, like it's like almost desperate. I feel like, it's like, oh, look at all these cool IP we have from like the fucking 80s, because dude, all those names I read off, think about this: Shaggy, Gandalf, Tom and Jerry, Batman, Fred Flintstone, Johnny Bravo, Mad Max. These are all old at IPs, like you pointed out. All of them, like like none of these are within the last, like were created within the last 20 years. Not a single one of them, so it's interesting. I mean, that does give WB some advantage though, because they also have a lot of iconic IPs, that they can pull from. So I don't know. I'm kind of interested to see what it looks like, but will I play it? No, probably not. I don't even play Smash Bros anymore,
Yeah, I really think this is going to be a waste of money, but I mean, what do I know? So,
All right, let's move on. Our last big story for the week. This actually happened a few weeks ago, but I saw it again and I kind of wanted to talk about it. So Eidos Montreal, we've talked a lot about crunch in recent over the course of this podcast, and it's been an ongoing conversation for a long time in the industry. Well, Eidos Montreal is endeavoring to do something about it. So they announced earlier this month that they are shifting to a 4-day work week, and it will be 4 8-hour shifts, no 10-hour shifts. So it's not 4 10s, and they will be open Monday through Thursday. Friday will be a closed day for the office. And there is no real catch here, it seems like. They are not changing pay scaling for anybody. So people are going to make the same amount of money and they're just going to work less hours. So this feels like this is the first video game company to really do this. We have seen this in some countries. I believe Spain has recently I think they did it on like a national level. They're like trying out 4-day work weeks. And then I think even in some parts of France, there's been some of this as well in the recent past too. So this is something that's percolating around Montreal. Do you think so? I have a few questions about this because this is a big deal. This isn't like a minor thing. Like, this is kind of unheard of in like the North American capitalist society. Now, this is a Canadian studio, of course, so it's not the US. But do you think that it's possible to make a quality game in a reasonable time frame doing a 4-day work week?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It's going to take longer, but they can
Mm,
definitely pull it out.
yeah.
I, I think. Oh no. Okay, I'm sorry.
You
Wait,
okay?
can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. My mic just went off. I
No.
actually turned off the system by mistake. But yeah. So I think I think a lot of jobs should incorporate this, not just for video games, but I think the data has proven that this kind of system works. When they tested it out in a couple of companies here in America,
Hmm.
uh, so I'm all for 4-day work weeks. I mean, it was the same thing with like working from home. They actually had like a lot of companies actually saw an increase in productivity when people were working from home. So yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is something I agree with you. Dude, like, I think this is something that we as a people, literally humanity, like overall everywhere, like probably needs to consider is that I feel like in the modern day, the most common thing I think that people talk about is how like just exhausted and tired and overwhelmed they are. And I think that stems from the fact that we work a lot. 40 hours is a lot of time to work in a week.
Not to
um
mention the time driving back and forth to work, like the
Yep,
commute.
commuting as well. If you add that in as well, which is not insignificant, that can be up to. I mean, if you have an hour drive to and from work, you're talking 10 hours a week, dude. That you're putting in extra to get to work and get home from work. That's not insignificant. So that turns a 40-hour week into a 50-hour week. So all that taken put together, to me is like it. It. I think people talk about mental health a lot online, and for good reason, because I think a lot of the reasons like we have a lot of issues and that we're all so stressed out and is because we we do work too much. Like, as like the United States in particular is really bad about this. Like, we work too much. The culture here is to work yourself to the fucking bone, to like get ahead in the world. And it does work. Like, it unfortunately it does work. And that has driven people to be that way, where you will push yourself to work 40 hours a week, but a lot of people will work more. They'll work 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week. And in games, it's even worse. We've seen it. Crunch is a real thing. Like, 60-hour weeks is not uncommon at a lot of studios in the game industry. But um, I think I'm like, it's nice that the data supports it, because to me, it feels like if I knew that I was working Monday through Thursday, or say, fuck it, you split the week in half. You get like Wednesday off. You do like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, or something like that. If I knew that I was working only 4 days a week, and um I had less time to get my work done, I feel like I would work differently. I think a lot of people would, right? You'd be more focused. Like, I would endeavor to not wait. Like, there would be no space to waste time during your work
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
And because I think most people, if they're being honest with themselves, you're not working 40 hours a week like straight, where you are 100% fucking focused on your job. Like, nobody's doing that. I just, like, I don't believe that. I really don't. Because it's just a natural element of working. Like, you need to kind of take a break for a few at some point during the day. It just happens. Like, and then there's also literal break time, that you get as part of your shift as well. So I totally support this. I think in terms of games, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens later in their next project's lifespan. if we hear reports of them crunching or doing like or going back to 5 days a week at some point, because early in a project, like at the very beginning, which is that's kind of where they are now. They're about to release a game. They released a game this week in Guardians of the Galaxy. They're now at the point where they're going to take a break for a while, probably take some time off. But then when they get back and they start working on the next project, it's like you're not really ramping up production for a while, so you can afford to work 32 hours a week. But as you get closer to your deadline of release for the next game, it's going to be really hard to maintain that, I think. So I will
Yeah,
be
I
interested to
think
see how that goes.
you know what I think they need to set realistic deadlines now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I understand, like me working in the industry that I work in. Well, I mean, I'm still IT, but I work in the construction industry of IT.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand like a lot of projects change and everything like that because that affects when I have to go out there and do my thing um as part of the putting up stuff in the building and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So being a part of that and seeing like okay, well we planned for this, we planned for November 15th, but this happened, so now we're gonna have to push it back to the 20th, or things get rushed up like, oh, they're coming right now, even though we didn't anticipate it, right then and there. um Things like construction, I guess you can't really like plan for that, but even in that aspect, I feel like a lot of things are just like, oh, we need to roll with the punches, like we need to that's how it was when our forefathers did it, and that's how we're going to do it now. And I feel like the game industry is that same way. Like that's how we're used to doing it. We're used to just working in crunch, or we're used to setting this deadline and then meeting the deadline, like just or trying to crunch it out and meet the deadline by all means. So
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the older heads in gaming are used, the older developers rather, they're used to doing this crunch, and this 4 day they'll still be working 5 days guaranteed. Like
Yeah.
they'll still be working from home or whatever the case may be. Like, oh, I did this, I came up with this cool thing over the weekend that I've been working on, or whatever the case may be. So I still think there's going to be an expectation until like those expectations dies out. It's
Mm-hmm.
not going to really change in that aspect. It just has to be a whole culture shift, and unfortunately that's going to take years for that to happen, because even us, we still do like, well, this is how I always did it. So
Yeah, I think that's true for sure, especially if this becomes widespread in the industry. But I will say part of it is there's probably some comfort to the idea that you like don't have to work a fifth day. Like it's like you're not mandated to work that fifth day, you know. And some developers are going to take it upon themselves, like they're passionate and they want to work, they want to do more work. But I think the thing that this would hope, like the problem, the thing with your idea that the culture wouldn't change is that I think at those studios that you're talking about where there's this pressure to work extra, they're not going to adopt a 32-hour work week, you know, and that's the thing about this that's nice to me is that if more studios and more companies, especially big ones like AAA studios, adopt this kind of working model, it's going to put pressure on other studios to do the same around the entire industry. Because at a certain point, if there's enough companies doing this and your company's a fucking shitty one to work for and they're overworking you and they're pressuring you into working like crazy hours, you could just say, fuck it, I'm going to go work at this company that only requires me to work 32 hours a week and it's still going to pay me like I work 40, you know? So, that hopefully it becomes a little bit more spread and frankly, it would be kind of cool to see video games be an industry that like kind of is a leader in changing this in like other industries, you know? If other industries see that this works for gaming, we could see it in other places as well. Um, Unfortunately, you and I are in careers where it's like, extra hours are unavoidable, really,
yeah,
working
yeah,
in IT support. But it, it doesn't change though. It does the idea though that even working a four day week though for us is like still feasible. Like we could probably do it, um, so Yeah, it's cool. Hats off to Eidos for doing this. It's really cool. And Square as well, because I mean, I'm sure they were involved in this discussion. Like it's probably not something like, I doubt Eidos did this of their own volition without talking to Square. So that means Square's in support of this as well, probably. So
yeah, yep. I
all
mean,
right.
Square being a primarily Japanese company, I mean
Mm-hmm.
that's actually huge because
Yeah.
you think the work ethic in America is like, work, work, work. Over there, people literally kill themselves at their desks working. Like
Yep.
it's like the expectation. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Indeed. All right, let's move on, Montrell. Our final story of the week: Switch Advance Wars, the reboot camp, Advance Wars 1 and 2 reboot camp has been pushed to spring 2022. I don't know if were you planning on playing this?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so are you okay with this news?
Hey, as long as the game comes out good, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm actually okay with this as well. I'm trying to catch up on games right now. That's why I'm trying to get through Mass Effect because I've had it on my list for so long. So I'm like trying to catch back up, and I think this gives me a little bit more time to breathe in the next few months. So I'm okay with it too, for sure. But it looks good. It looks fun.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Good old Advance Wars. All right, Montreal. That's all we got for news, man. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about this week?
Nah, I ain't got nothing else to talk about.
All right, let's call it here. Let's make it a short one. If you like this episode, please like the episode, review the show, subscribe to the show on whatever feed you're listening to it on, and please share it with your friends. If you'd like to interact with us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrap for the Hokage for Montreal. That's the number 4, not the word. I'm at ThunderNet01, and the show is at The Player's Take. If you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. And that is going to be it for us this week, guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.